G'day there YouTube, welcome back to the channel everyone. Congratulations to all of you. You found the champ dog. It's going to be a real quick intro today. Feeling pretty sick today and yesterday, which is why I took yesterday off. Sipping on some herbal tea with ginger and lemon to try and soothe myself. But I got a little bit of MonoGreen Aggro gameplay that I'm going to share with you guys. Given that I'm sick, I'm not going to be doing a wrap-up at the end. I haven't made any changes to the deck. It's still PVDDR's version. But I wanted to come back to share a little bit of content with you guys. Even though I'm not feeling well, you know, you've all been good to me. You deserve a little something from the champ dog. You know what I mean? All right, why don't you shuffle up? I'll catch you in the arena. On the play, always nice to see. I don't love this hand, but I definitely don't hate it either. We've got a 2-drop into a 3-drop. And we've got a little piece of removal. Probably can't use it till like turn 4 without slowing down our game plan significantly. I also don't love seeing black mana. Wonder what 1 mana black instant they're holding. Could be like a Lash of Malice situation. Almost played the Haven there, like just out of habit. With other decks, I've often not played the Haven as soon as I could, and it means that I can't attack or block with it, and I've tried to train myself out of that, but I need to be mindful here that I do need the triple green for the troll. So I almost made the mistake of just slapping this down reflexively to that newer habit. But I definitely want the troll here. On Golgari, that's interesting. I still want to know what they're holding priority with. It could be nothing. They could just be playing in full control or something. But as I said, I'm curious. What is this? So they're on counters. Has menace, has counters. Each creature with a counter has menace. Okay, is this a starter deck? Because I mean, if it is, I'm going to feel pretty bad about what's happening here. So normally it would make sense to just load up the Trampler, but in this case, they can both get through the Constrictor. I don't really feel the need to fire off a Blizzard Brawl here. I mean, there's definitely an argument that I should to just keep the battlefield clear, but sure, Binding? Binding wouldn't be in a starter deck like this, would it? What do they target? But yeah, I just don't feel that the Constrictor is menacing enough to warrant using a Blizzard Brawl at the moment. In the tank on what to blow up. Okay, they go for the Ranger class. That's probably a good decision, especially if they do have other creatures that can block or other removal. Because I get I can get sustained value off the... So if I had played Blizzard Brawl last turn and I'd played one this turn, my opponent would be dead now. But I can't do maths and they're dead anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, as I was saying, the Binding the Old Gods on the Ranger class, probably the right decision because I get ongoing value from that. Seeing black mana, I do want to bring in some Snakeskin Veils. I really don't know what else I want. Maybe the Froghemoth. So it looks like they're playing some little dorky things that I probably just want to be able to smash over the top of. Again, Adversary doesn't feel great here. So the problem is I don't really know what my opponent's deck is and what it's doing. I feel like I'd probably be fine if I didn't sideboard. But if they do have more removal than I saw that game, something like Ranger class can actually be helpful to break out of that 1-for-1 trade dynamic. I probably don't need 4 Snakeskin Veils. Maybe I just go with 2. Maybe I cut 1 Inscription. I almost brought this in just because I saw the enchantment there, but this is not an effective response to Binding the Old Gods, not at all. I could just try like this. As I said, I don't think it really matters. Just because of the power level that we saw from our opponent's deck. I mean, we only saw a couple of cards, but they're playing Hagrid and Stricter, so I don't know how seriously I should take my opponent at this point. This hand is unkeepable. This hand is much better. I actually think I put back the Florahedron. It's the weakest card in the hand. I've got something to do on turn 2, and I've got 3 guaranteed land drops to get to the troll. Hey, there's a 4th land. Moss Pit Skeleton. This has to be a starter deck, right? This comes back when oh, it doesn't even go to hand, it goes to the top of your library when counters are put on things. Wow. What a trash card. Like, you can recur it, but at the cost of... Like, it's not card advantage. It's not quality recursion. Honestly, I'm happy to take this block. Am I? No, I don't think I do. If they have a removal spell, I'd rather get that out of their hand on this token, to be honest. Brackmore. This does seem like a starter deck. I mean, I think Grackmore's a really decent card, don't get me wrong. Okay, I mean, if they're going to act like they're the aggressor, I'm going to do this. Yeah, Grackmore's like, it's clearly a quality card. Just obvious, just hasn't been good enough. Sure. We can get a troll token back, so that's not the end of the world. And I'm doing this because I am going to fight the Grackmore. Just get it off the battlefield, get it replaced with the token. It's obviously card disadvantage for me, but I just want to get that off the battlefield before it gets bigger. And the token thing is worse. And hopefully the chariot will provide some advantage for me. So we'll create the troll token, use that to crew the chariot, and attempt to copy it. Oh. Comes in tapped. I can't use it to crew the chariot, but we're going to attempt to copy the troll token. And just hope our opponent doesn't have removal. Looks like they don't. Good news for us. And I'm more than happy to trade tokens here if that's what they want to do. But this is what I was getting at. I took a exchange that was card disadvantage for me, assuming that the chariot would basically be able to provide ongoing value and effective card advantage. You know, if I can create a few 4/4 tokens, very happy with this. I'm just going to attack with everything here. I guess I'm one of the 2/2s, so it's a less profitable block. If they want to get rid of the chariot, they need to double block. So this one gives them more value overall, but at the moment this is the biggest thing on the battlefield. So I think I'd rather remove that. They have to sink a fair bit of mana into this and on their turn to make use out of it. And they probably just die next turn anyway. Yep. The play again. We're having some decent luck with that today. I love this hand, but it's pretty decent. I mean, I'd prefer to have a third land in here, but I've got the turn 2 pack leader. I have a 3-drop. Obviously not my preferred 3-drop, but it is a 3-drop. Really need to find some lands. Looks like our opponent is also on mono green. Looks like they also have the Blizzard Brawl. Saves me from doing it. Obviously would have been much happier if this were a troll. Do they have a follow-up? No, they just level up. Get in for 4, and I think we're better off playing the chariot than trying to remove something. Chariot of their own, fantastic. Now they do have 2 free attacks here, well essentially because they've leveled up the ranger class. That's a little sad. But what does one do? So ideally we want to just top deck a land here so we can play Ren. Yes! And you know, do that thing we do. Still going to use the cats to crew it. There's no point attacking with the cats because they can just block with their own chariot. That was really fortunate to hit that land because our opponent is obviously a bit ahead of us with the activated ranger class and also having a chariot. So being able to outscale them a little bit with the Ren and 7 token is really nice. Hopefully they don't have their own Ren. They do. That's a little unfortunate, but what do you do? And we do have the backup chariot as well.
They prepare for war.
So do they just cash in their chariot for another token? Yes, they do. So trade a chariot with a token. So we are back behind on board, which is sad. But really not the end of the world. So I think what I want to do here is kill off their tree folk and then attack down their Ren. Wonderful.
We must regenerate.
Back up chariot and kill off their other tree folk. And now we are firmly back in the driver's seat here. So I would argue that perhaps what my opponent should have done instead of that is activate Haven and attack down my red, but they scoop it up. Nice to get the turn 1. Obviously, I want the Blightblade. I want the Liberator. And I probably want the Huntmaster and the extra Renin 7. Hut Adversary. So I am on the draw, so I need to be able to duck fight spells from my opponents, but it's just that's also gonna be difficult. Being on the draw, like trying to hold up that 1 mana there could be a bit of a challenge. Maybe I just cut Ranger Class here. I don't love it because it's like such a good card. But particularly being on the draw, like getting down a Sculptor of Winter to ramp into a Chariot or something is a good comeback mechanism. Obviously, the Ranger class can grind out a lot of value, but what basically what my thought process here is, being on the draw, I'm likely to be on the back foot, particularly, you know, with the amount of fight spells and stuff. It's a very tempo-y game in the mirror match, and it, as I've said before, it can become really binary, just like, do you have the first fight spell? Do you have the Tajaru Blightblade and the fight spell? So I think acceleration mechanisms as a way to catch back up might be more valuable than the Ranger class as a grindy, I can't keep this, grindy value proposition. I can keep this. This seems like what I should put back, but I'm actually going to go with the Haven. I think I do want to have something to build towards if the plan A of Chariot doesn't work out, although drawing a second Chariot, they do have the removal for the Chariot. Yeah, drawing the second Chariot makes me kind of wish I'd put this back and kept the land, but then I've drawn another land as well, so that's less the case. Triple Chariot. Sure, why not? I think I just attack here. I'm obviously not going to be blocking a Mammoth next turn. So if they want to trade, that's probably good for me. And I mean, obviously it's tempting to get rid of the Liberator so it doesn't blow up my Chariot. But I just don't have a good answer for the Mammoth, and I won't for a little while. This getting to flip is pretty savage. I didn't actually think about that, so that's a big problem and one that I unfortunately don't have an answer to at the moment. I still play out the Chariot, obviously. They can attack and blow it up, but I can double block with the tokens and kill the Trap Breaker. It's the only plan I have at the moment, unfortunately. Okay, so we probably just lose from here. Like, being on the draw, particularly post-sideboard in this mirror match, is just really difficult to come back from. Do I have enough to... I do have enough to kick this, so I can turn my kitty cat into a 4/4, kill off their Liberator, and block a troll. Honestly, I think I need to do it now. It's obviously tempting to hold it up to try and ambush a troll on the attack. But they could have a Inscription of Abundance or similar thing themselves in response. Even a Snakeskin Veil would do it. We did gain a bit of life there, which is also really nice for us. Okay, so that is a lot of incoming damage. I'm going to need to... I'm going to need to chump block with these kitty cat tokens. Trade with the tracker here. It's obviously tempting to block a troll, but they can attach it and bring it back this turn. So I really needed to find a land there to play out this Huntmaster. Because these all have trample, there's just no way I can win here. So we're just going to say good game and move on. A little bit sad, but what do you do? I think we just keep it like this, to be honest. Not having a play on turn 3 there really hurt us. I think I can keep this. I'm going to play this out as a creature to try to get the turn 3 chariot. It could get removed if they 1-drop into fight spell, but that's unlikely. It's a very specific combination of cards they would have to pull that off. Again, they get the Outland Liberator, which is a little bit savage, but they probably just have to sack it to blow up the chariot, and we do at least get left with 2 tokens. We also made sure they didn't get to flip it. There's definitely an argument to be made. I should have just played out the pack leader or something and I should have just played out the pack leader and tried to find removal for the Liberator, but there's just no guarantee I'll find it. Okay. I mean, if that's how they want to do this, that's fine. At some point, they're probably still going to want to sack this to blow up the chariot. So, you know, this is all fine by me. Just cruise the chariot for free. As in, doesn't cost me an attacking creature. So I don't lose any damage this turn by activating this. I'm sure they blow up the Liberator, and that's fine. So I say effectively what happened there is they traded Inscription of Abundance for a token and then Outland Liberator for the chariot. So they have still traded 2 cards for not an entire card. I was going to say for 2/3 of a card, but I mean, the chariot aspect of it is a significant amount of the value. The 2 2/2s are not equivalent to the chariot. It's not like that's half the card. You know what I mean? But it's still a card positive exchange for us, if that makes sense. So the question is, do I attack with the Wolf Leader to try and draw a card? Sorry, with the Werewolf Pack Leader. I can try to draw a card, but then if they block with the Troll, I have to spend all my mana pumping it. And then I can't cast the Huntmaster. I think I would rather cast the Huntmaster, so I'm just going to attack with the 5/5. And now my opponent is the one who has to be wary of letting it flip to nighttime. Each time it attacks, you create 2 wolf tokens on the backside. That's so strong. It's disgusting. Werewolf pack leader, wonderful. Unfortunately, don't have a land to trigger landfall on the mammoth. If I attack with this, do they just double block? Probably. So this might seem pretty sketchy, but I just want to trigger the werewolf and I'll draw a card. I'm willing to sacrifice a couple of tokens to do that. I'd rather not run this into 2 blockers because then I'm effectively trading this for still just 1 card from my opponent. So one of them will survive. If I had an Inscription of Abundance, like a pump effect, even if I don't have the Ranger class in my library anymore, but if I'd had something like that to pump it up so I could trade with both, that's a much better proposition. Again, no land to trigger the mammoth. So I'm just going to attack like this. Draw a couple of cards. I'm still threatening the activation on the pack leader if they try to block that with the troll. Okay, so they just want to trade. I'm happy with that. I have the much stronger board, so I'm not at all adverse to trades. It'd be nice to get the Blight Blade down because it'd really disincentivize my opponent from attacking. But I think I just want to play out the 2 old growth trolls. Get a stronger board. My opponent can make a troll in end step here. Don't know why they're thinking so hard about this. Just goes on lands. It is a little bit tricky for them though because... Oh no, I was going to say it might turn off Blizzard Brawl, but these are snow permanents as well. So it just goes on a forest. You have one that's untapped, one will obviously go there, and then one goes on a tapped forest and it really doesn't matter which. So I think our opponent is just salt roping. So let me just go get a pepper grinder to go with that salt. Come on, Zilla. Be better. Be better than this. You convincingly won game 2, and I happily accepted that and even wished you a good game. Don't salt rope me now. Okay, they are back. They are back. Maybe they just disconnected, timed out, ran to the bathroom, stopped to talk to their wife or husband. Maybe the kid was crying in the next room. Maybe a bear wandered into the house and they had to do battle with it. I'd love to flip this Huntmaster, but I just haven't had a turn where not casting spells to flip it seemed strong enough. It does get marginally larger on the backside. That's good to know. Becomes a 7/7. Opponent reading the card there. Makes sense. You really don't want me to flip this. But you probably don't have... I guess if they have an Inscription of Abundance, they can pump the troll and fight and trade. Okay. Activate a Haven. Block like this. block like this, block like this. I don't like exposing my Huntmaster to risk like this, but these are otherwise very attractive blocks. Okay, my opponent has nothing. They scoop it up. Nice.